Present.
Mrs. Shoemaker?
Present.
Mr. Bonner? Mrs. Burzine? Mr. Mullins?
Present. I didn't see you slip in, Joy. How are you? Good.
I'm
Good.
here.
Good.
Oh, I'm good.
If we could, do we have a flag up here?
Oh, right back there behind
Back
Liz.
there.
Sorry, they had music up here and
Can we
sorry
bring
about
that?
that.
Yeah. Can we bring it out and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
that's
Wrong one.
That's actually the right place. I bet the other one's over there.
No, it's over here.
It's right there. Yep, it's there.
There we go. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have, everyone has their board agenda. There were no addendums to it. Any questions? Okay, there was one addendum on the personnel. Other than that, anything, Deb and Deb?
No, thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Moved by Mr. Hartmus,
I second.
second by Mrs. Shoemaker. Roll.
Mrs. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Mr. Bonner? Mrs. Burzine? Mr. Mullins?
Yes.
Mr. Hartman?
Yes.
Okay, visitors and public participation. Would anyone like to address the board this evening?
I would.
Huh?
I would. I thank you all for making this transition, not only for me, but for many, to start a new year. And is it ever a new year? Anyway, thank you for your patience. Our young people need patience. Remember that. This is why we're all here. Don't get too hyper about this or that with them. I know there are rules to follow. But I thank you all for your consideration for all of us. And go Cavs.
Hey, thank you, Joy. Appreciate that. And thank you for everything you do.
Well, you're welcome.
Recognition presentation. Everyone we won't go through this. You have a little copy of a student liaison report. We will probably have him come to the next meeting to try to give us a fuller report. But with us just getting back in and things being a little hectic these last few weeks, we'll let him ease into it. Next up, an athletics updates. Mr. Barron. Yep.
Well, he's getting a mic so you can hear you.
Oh, there's one right there. Yeah.
Thanks for inviting me. So first off, I just want to tell you that, we're thankful for the opportunity to get to play sports this year. I've told our coaches and our athletes to treat every practice and every game as if it's your last, because it very well could be. We don't know what's going to happen. We're in an unprecedented situation, but I can tell you that our goal in the athletic department is to get as close to business as usual, subject to the modifications that are based on those Ohio Department of Health orders. So we've had, albeit Zoom meetings and use of final forms. We've had the coaches meeting. We've had the meet the team. And my goal is to have a full schedule for every team. Now, that changes every day, every hour of the day. With one of the things that has, caused a lot of unsettled games is the rule that you can't have any try matches in volleyball, because we've had to cancel all of our tournaments, all of our invitationals that we're at, and most of the tries and quads that we have, we were in a later edition, and so we're usually the team that gets dropped. But we have a plan for concessions at every game. That's been run through Mary Montgomery, the Touchdown Club, and the Cavalier Club, and the band boosters. We are going to try and do, as many of our special recognition events as we can, although, they won't be, that's an area where it won't be business as usual. There will be no FAC banquet in the fall. We'll have, I think, a limited homecoming celebration, and our senior nights, will have limited interaction on the field, but we're utilizing the technology that we have. I mean, we'll be using the new video boards that we have, and we are going to try to have some recognition on the field, like in the end zone, where we can take pictures for our parents and players. The band, I've talked to our band director, and because the band performances will be limited at athletic events, I've told her that if she wants to play at some soccer games, that I'm amenable to scheduling that. I'm trying to, we do a little painting around the stadium. And so I've worked with the band so that they can recognize their seniors close to the visitors concession stand where their parents operate the visitors concession stand. And the same with cheerleading. Cheerleading's going to be limited to our home football games, but I've talked to Nancy Arledge about if they want to participate at some other events, that I'm amenable to that as well. So we're required under the ODH order to come up with an operating plan, which we've been working on. We'll combine, obviously you're aware that we had phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 protocols over the summer for our conditioning, and we've used those through the preseason. We're still pre-screening before every practice. We'll have protocols during the season. We've had several FAC League Zoom meetings, and we're establishing some league policies, with respect to the COVID as well. I know this is being broadcast. So one of the things that the ODH order requires is that we designate a compliance officer for each of our events. And so I'll be the compliance officer when I'm at the event. If I'm not there, Newt Bonner will be the compliance officer. If either Newt or I aren't there, then our new assistant AD, Katie Greiner, will be the compliance officer. And in the off chance that none of the three of us are there, whoever the administrator is on call will be, our designated compliance officer. So we're not going to be perfect. I went to I talked to Doug Pryor about our scrimmage the other night against Westland. I was up at Canal Winchester for our boys soccer match, and just, for example, we scored the first goal, and of course, old habits die hard. No celebrations, right? We scored that first goal and we celebrated. So it's just a matter of getting used to things. I'm all about the experience for our kids. I want them to have fun. I don't want to, strip them of their enthusiasm, but, rest assured that I have to go after the fact and tell our coaches, next time we can't do that. It's really hard. Our JV team, after they played, they're sitting in the stands, and it's just a natural thing. I'm watching them, and they tend to start congregating and talking about the game. And it's just one of those things where, I'll be the, for lack of a better term, the COVID Gestapo. I just go down and nicely say, guys, I'd feel more comfortable if you spread out. And I hope that, you know, our spectators will abide by the mask policy. Our league has voted that our spectators need to have a mask on at all times at our games. You know, the three things I think that are kind of our core principles are masking up, both our coaches, athletes, and spectators, and social distancing. You know, with the 6 feet social distancing, we've marked our bleachers over at Herrnstein, and we've marked our bleachers in Hatton and Cox Gym. So we just ask people to, you know, to abide by that. Obviously, families can sit together. And then the third thing is the sanitation and the disinfection. So we've got, for instance, at the O, we will have hand sanitizer placed, you know, strategically around the O. We'll have hand sanitizers placed strategically inside by Hatton Gym. And, you know, we're enforcing our kids with separate water bottles. I bought separate towels for each kid to wipe perspiration off. You know, we just have to be as diligent as we can, while at the same time, like I said, letting our kids have fun, letting them compete. It's certainly really important that we comply, but I don't want to get to the point where our kids aren't having fun because they're more worried about somebody coming up to them and asking them to do something. So I want everybody out there to know that the policies that we're making, you know, I'm not just sitting in my office making policies. It's a joint effort. You know, we're working with Matt Ballantyne. We're working with the superintendent. We're working with the school board, you know, to come up with what we think are the best policies to keep everybody safe, yet at the same time have an enjoyable athletic experience. So, you know, what I would say to everybody is you need to be flexible and you need to be accommodating with our adjustments, you know, to your fan experience. You know, one thing is certain besides that there will be changes. The other thing is that none of us, including me, will be happy 100% of the time with the decisions that are being made. But we have to live with them and make the best of them. So unless you have questions, that's all I have.
Any questions?
Yeah, well, first of all, well done, Mike. Thank you. Second, this question, the 15% of football games, what kind of formula do you use to determine that?
Really scientific. We went over and counted the seats. So if I can find it here.
380 on the home side, 150 on the visitors.
Yeah.
That's how many we want to have in there?
Yeah.
Yes. And so, you know, that was one of the things that was covered in our conference meeting today is, you know, everyone gave their numbers and, you know, Greenfield McLean has the smallest stadium. So there are going to be some issues, you know, there's going to be some limits on tickets, but what we're trying to do is that every athlete will get athlete and cheerleaders at home and band, but at the away games, every athlete will get 2 tickets, a minimum of 2 tickets to contests. And I think what we're planning on doing on that is, you know, one way of looking at it is we're prepping our athletes for college athletics. It's just like complimentary tickets in college. You know, some kids will not use all their tickets, and so we've encouraged the kids and the parents to talk among each other and you know, trade those tickets when they're needed by different families.
Just wondering, how does that number go with a little bit more scientific way of figuring it out? Length times width divided by 36. What would that give you? Anyone check that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
How does that work out? The way I figured things for the maximum for the safe distancing, 6 feet, that's 36 square feet per person. So divide that into your total area and see what numbers you have.
Yeah, I think what we did, I mean, the issue there is obviously families get to sit together. And so what we've done, you know, we talked about various ways of marking the stands, but really what we've done is gone with individual seats. And so when you go up there, if you've got, you know, the seats are marked, and we mark them kind of in accordance with your figuring how much room we need. And, you know, families will sit together and then you'll count 6 dots. And you can't sit within, you know, those 6 if you're not part of that family. And then by section, we have them staggered, you know, so we won't have a, you know, straight line of people all the way over. I suppose, you know, we could have measured the bleachers, but you still run into the issue of we don't know what families, you know, are going to sit together and how many people they're going to have in their group. I think for the most part, we'll be okay. Obviously, when you play like this Friday, when we play a school like Wheelersburg, they're not getting enough tickets to bring their, you know, their fans. But I think in most cases, other than football, that our fans will be okay. You know, we may have the occasional big game where we have a, you know, a large crowd, but I think if people work together with, you know, the allocation of tickets, that we should be okay. The one place where we're not going to be okay is freshman volleyball, because that's in Cox Gym, and based on our seating capacity, we can only put, I think, 35 fans in there total. So that's going to be an issue.
How many can you put at the intermediate school?
40 for each team, so it's 80 total.
Okay.
It's not much, you know, much more. But, you know, we're, for instance, with our middle school sports, when we have 7th and 8th playing, we're going to clear the gym. I think most every school in the conference is doing that so that we can fit as many people as possible. And then we're not going to do a full disinfect, deep clean of it, but we're going to wipe the handrails down and that kind of stuff between games. So we're kind of preparing fans at those games for, there are going to be delays. You're going to watch that 7th grade and we're going to have to figure out, and there are various proposals on where are we going to stage people when they're waiting to come back in. That's going to be, you know, honestly, when the kids are playing, that's not really where I'm seeing a problem with social distancing. It's in the downtime. It's in this, you know, staging. And I probably, you know, if people don't know who I am, they're going to know who I am after this year, because I'm probably going to be, like I said, the social distancing Gestapo. But we'll have people, you know, helping out. And I think after a while, people will get used to it. I know that our kids have kind of gotten used to it just from the summer workouts. You know, it's the new normal.
Anything else? You know, like Mike mentioned, and we've talked about, we were probably going to be just fine for high school volleyball, things like that, just because of the normal crowds. Soccer we're going to be fine for because of the crowds that they draw. Football, you know, we unfortunately have 2 what would typically be full house games, Wheelersburg and Jackson. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to have those this year. So, but we mentioned the 150 on the visitor, 380 on the home side, and there will be no, we won't allow anyone to stand at the fence, anything like that. You have to be in a seat, and that was part of the Ohio Department of Health recommendation. So, Mike will work with the media as far as how much media will be allowed, where they'll be allowed to set up at, et cetera. Well, we have officers there, so the hope will be, they'll help us disperse that. So,
and we're going to make sure that there's plenty of administration at most of these home games for a while to make sure that we can help with that as well.
For certain coaches and administrators, that's been a pet peeve. And they talked about putting some type of tarps up so you can't see. This could be the time that we really just do that. Put tarps up. We go recently on.
Oh, from like the parking lot, the fence on the parking lot there, or okay.
I mean, I know
yeah.
A lot of coaches in the past want to do that just for government purposes. They kind of put them to people who are not paying to get in. Yeah, not everybody me.
Yeah.
But some did. I think John Saunders took me tied for
Yeah,
anyway.
but so you have that fence that's outside. You also have the inside fence too. People walk around. You'll see them inside the stadium standing there, and that's prohibited moving forward now too. So, yeah. Things like, Mike mentioned we're working with concessions. Concessions can only sell prepackaged things. They can't cook anything. They can't do anything like that. So it's a different world this year, but Mike and Newt and everyone are trying to shoo off spectators from watching practices and things like that. And that's been a full-time job for them, unfortunately. So they're unfortunately down here at a middle school practice where a bunch of people sitting outside the fence watching. And I've had people text or email me pictures about that, asking, why are you allowing this? Well, we're really not, but
some of it's going to get rather tricky. I mean, if they're sitting on our property, we can chase them off our property.
Well, they were
but
they have been. Yeah, they're outside the old baseball field fence, but yeah, definitely on our property. So yeah.
Kind of in that respect, I would hope, and again, this is to everybody out there listening, what we would like people to do is, if you're going by a practice and you see something and have an issue with it, talk to the coach.
Yeah.
Talk to me. Please don't pick up the phone and contact the superintendent or the school board, because we can resolve those at the lowest appropriate level. And I think, that's what we would like to do. And, the same thing at games. There'll be security officers there, myself, Newt. If you have an issue with someone, come get us and we'll try and resolve it. I just don't want the COVID thing to ruin the experience for everybody. And I may be talking out of turn, but I would hope that people would come to the games even if they can't get in, kind of like an Ohio State game where you're in our parking lot taking in the experience, because our kids are starving, for support this year, and it's going to go, all year. It's a very tough year, and I think one of the things that has been borne out here is the importance of not just athletics but extracurriculars in the whole education, the whole education process.
Yeah, I agree with that. But as I mentioned when we were talking about and putting together our back to school plan, I think one thing I said that the single driving force on whether we're going to be staying in school when we're here is the community and how the community responds. Same way with our athletics and extracurriculars. If you want the extracurriculars to last a whole season, I mean, it's up to the spectators, it's up to the parents, and it's up to the kids. Because if they don't do the right thing, then there's going to be a couple games and the season's going to be canceled. So, yep, follow the guidance, do what we're supposed to do, and we'll be able to give these kids a season. So, Mike, thank you very much. Legislative update, there really isn't anything going on there. Board action. Notes here, approval of the firm Brennan, Mana, and Diamond. This is recommended by Braunston for us to get into. It is a bankruptcy trial of Purdue Pharma LP, and it's a chance for us to be a part of it as a plaintiff. So that's what this is. Any questions on it? I will make the motion that we approve this. Second by Mrs. Corzine. Roll.
Mrs. Corzine? Yes. Mr. Mullins?
Yes.
Mr. Hartnett?
Yes.
Mrs. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Mr. Bonner?
Okay, treasurer's recommendations, Debbie.
I'd like to approve A through E.
I have a question on
Yep.
E. Is that the transfer for athletics? Do we need that much at this time, or is that something we can do part now and part later if we needed?
We're at 79,000 negative.
Okay.
And, you know.
Are we pulling that out of the COVID funds? You're kidding.
No, I got that all, we've got that appropriated. We've got it encumbered.
Oh, we've spent the COVID.
It started all back in March. They just, they're not pulling in any income. And even when we do what we're going to do, they're not going to pull in the income.
Right.
So, it was one of the things that I said that there was a possibility that we might have to supplement the athletics. And we're going to have to. And as far as the COVID, I wish we could. And maybe who knows, they will give us some more money later. And if they did, that we could reimburse that ourselves.
Okay.
And maybe basketball season will be, probably not, but it might be back.
No.
Yeah, we'll be back.
I'm just being, that's what that is.
Okay, that's fine. I'll make that motion, Mr. Mullins.
Okay, moved by Mr. Harkness. Second by Mrs. Corzine. Roll.
Ms. Corzine? Yes. Mr. Mullins?
Yes.
Mr. Hartness?
Yes.
Mrs. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Thank you, Debbie. Superintendent's recommendations.
Okay, I'd like to recommend A through F.
Any questions on those?
Yeah, it's a lot.
And now we did strike out number 10, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Moved by Mr. Harkness. I'll second that. Roll.
Mr. Bonner? Mrs. Corzine? Mr. Mullins?
Yes.
Mr. Harkness? Mrs. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Thank you much. Discussion, informational items. Anything?
No, I just would like to thank Natalie Herbert for all of her hard work getting everything ready. She has worked tirelessly to make sure that our opening has run smoothly. And although we have our procedures in place and the staff have done a great job of following those procedures and implementing everything we've asked them to, her job doesn't end at 3:30. She's working weekends and evenings to keep track of kiddos that have been absent to make sure that they're coming back safely. And she has just put a ton of time in, and I don't think we'd be where we are week 3 without all of her help. So I just really wanted to recognize everything she's done for us.
Yep. Board member comments.
I would just like to recognize all of our staff. I know day one, I done some driving around and watching traffic because I know traffic's always been a disaster, and
Especially at the beginning of the year.
especially day one, day two. I mean, it was flowing. Joe, your buildings were they were trucking right along, and the intermediate school was moving right along. I mean, I can't say enough good things about our staff. So thank you.
I do want to, a few things. You saw the enrollment numbers on our new virtual academy. We're a little over 38% of our kids. I think, Debbie, our stretch goal a couple months ago was 25, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We thought, man, if we hit
Surpassed
25,
that.
we'll be awesome. And we've blown past that. So liable to have a few more registered this week too, because it starts next Monday. But it has made social distancing easier in the classrooms. I've been getting a lot of phenomenal feedback from parents about how the year has started out. They're very pleased with everything that we're doing. It was publicized. We did have one positive test case. Our folks handled it very well. That student should not have been in the building. We didn't think we had to put in our protocols. If you've been tested, stay home until you find the results. Well, clearly now we had to. So, now the one thing that Debbie is looking into and working with our attorneys is what type of discipline, may be involved with that too. So that's just not a forget all about it. So, they need to be held responsible. But we have had some folks in the district who have had to quarantine because of family, but that's all worked out the way it's supposed to based on the protocols. So I know we worked long and hard on all those, and thank everyone involved with them. As Bill has mentioned with the athletics, it's been a good start to the year, all things considered. All things considered. So other than that, we've got the athletic update. We know what we're doing there. If there are no other comments, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Mr. Hartmus. Second by Mr. Shoemaker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.